Hey folks, End All Be All here, and I'm back with 3v3 this time. It's been a while since I put out a 3v3 video. I put out a bunch of strategy guides and collabs with Zareth, but it's been a couple of weeks. Been a little caught up with work, but finally made some time to record this video because my current opponent is a viewer. The name is Liam, and he's in fact from the guild of Kin. If you all know Kin, he's also a fellow content creator and also has a really good website called Grand Arena Science. I'll leave a link down to it down below, but it's got good a good interface for you to search for specific counters, and then it's got a few other resources and tools. A very knowledgeable guy, and I've been on his podcast a few times as well. So definitely go and check that out, Grand Arena Science. Before we move on to the match with Liam itself, let me give a quick recap of my first match of the week. It was against with the Master Knight, and this one was an interesting match. I had I went this has been my style in 3v3, both in the first week as well in the second week. I've gone really hard on defense, and by hard I mean 4 to 5 GLs plus Starkiller on defense, although lately I've been keeping Starkiller on offense, but 4 to 5 GLs usually on defense, and my goal in 3v3 has always been to prevent my opponent from clearing. That works great if your opponent is at almost the same level as you. It does not work if your opponent is like maybe a million GP more than you and it's got tons more relics or better mods and all that. In those kind of matchups, I think it's way better if you decide to go a little more offense heavy, because nothing you can do is going to stop opponents like that from clearing you. If you're more or less evenly matched up, then I think a heavy defense strategy works great. But if you're the underdog, then I think my advice would be to go for an offense heavy strategy to make sure that your opponent trips up on a few of your counters, and then you have to ensure that you're flawless in your offense in order to pull the upset victory. So that would be my approach in 3v3 going forward. Anyway, in this case, both me and Master Knight were pretty well matched up, evenly matched up. Dropped only one battle in the front. Um, I had 2 GLs down south, 2 GLs up north. I think in this case there was only 1 GL. Yeah, there was only Ray up north, but he dropped a few battles on Ray, wasn't able to clear, and I got the victory. And now my current opponent, Liam, from the guild Shadowlands Mad Claw, like I mentioned, Kin's Guild, 8.7 million GP, so almost the same as me. And since he's a viewer, I knew that I couldn't really rely on history anymore. I had to do something special because I knew my opponent Liam is going to change things up for me. So I had to be make things I had to be on my toes when I placed my defense and when I went for my offense. So let's take a look at the board, and Liam has got all the same GLs as me, all the ultimates, all it's got Starkiller, everything good, well relicked up, and maybe a slight mod advantage as well. Um, oh no, I think my Liam does. I forget whether Liam has Starkiller or not. Maybe he does not have Starkiller. I don't remember, but he does have a really solid set of counters in place. Like he's able to counter Starkiller without a GL of his own. He uses I believe a combination of CLS and a few other squads. So I did not want to keep Starkiller on defense. Similarly, Lord Vader, he had a very easy way to counter Lord Vader. He'd got a Fennec relic up, and he was proficient in that counter. So I did not keep Lord Vader on defense as well. Instead, I kept again 4 GLs on defense, two below, two up north. Just that is which is my usual style. And you can see over here, I kept Sith Eternal with Malik because he's got Wampa Omicron, so I didn't want to give that free victory to him. So Sith Eternal with Malik to draw out 1 GL, kept Gas and Boba and Qui-Gon Jinn, a few other teams. This Gas with Rex and Fives I've been always keeping on defense. It's been doing well for me. Either pulls a GL or it drops at least a couple of battles. And then you can see over here, this is the full bastard version of the General Jedi Master Kenobi team, which is Cat and GK. I feel that teams with Mace or anything else like that are relatively easier for non-JMK GLs to take out. Uh, for JMK mirrors, it doesn't make a difference whether you have Mace or or GK or not. But for non mirrors, if you want to take those in, the presence of GK over there can create a lot of problem, which is why I love to see that. So Liam mentioned that he had some bad luck over here in this counter and wasn't able to. He was only able to take out Cat initially, and then wasn't able to take out GK, and then he had a couple of other battles where he was able to take out GK, but he didn't have enough to get through Jedi Master Kenobi, which prevented the zone from getting cleared. So tough luck, these things happen in especially when you're going up against tricky GLs like JMK. You can't any piece of bad luck that you have, it really it can really amplify, and then whatever amount of offense is left in your roster, you might not be able to clear using that. So that was the bottom zone. At the top, I had a couple of GLs. I kept my Jedi Master Luke as well as my Ray over here with the L3 and Barris. I think the Hoda comps are more trickier. I think, and subsequently I started putting Hoda on defense, which who does great with Ray. But L3 and Barris also can cause some problems. Here, my opponent Liam had no problem at all one-shotting the board over there. So since he wasn't able to clear the bottom, he one-shot the top zone as well as my ships as well. You'll see over here, I did not keep the executor on defense because Liam is extremely proficient in the first order Hux counter to executor. So I did not want to give that cheap easy win and decided to keep my malevolence negotiator and chimera on defense. But he was able to one-shot all of those, no problem at all. So no worries there. At the back, I had kept relatively cheese teams. I mean, none of these are really difficult teams to take out in 3v3s. But yeah, I was hoping that one of my top zones holds, one of my front zone holds, and they did end up holding. Now, my opponent has not gone that heavy at the top. I think he was hoping to probably prevent me from clearing the bottom zone because if I take a look at the bottom, there's no GLs on top, no GLs at the bottom either. There's some tricky teams like Gas and well, I guess yeah, Gas is the main team, and then there's DR as well. So a couple of tricky teams, but I was fully expecting a few GLs at the back, especially given the fact that my opponent had dropped or wasn't able to clear my JMK. I was expecting at least a couple of GLs at the back, and typically I think my opponent has kept Rey and Lord Vader, I think, at the back. But let's see. Let's see what we have there. Let's go with this battle first. Now, the Darth Revan is one of those 3v3 teams. Darth Revan Gas, all these are non-GL 3v3 teams that a lot of people prefer to take GLs against. But in the last 3v3 season, I specifically modded my Veers to be able to do this particular counter of Troopers versus Darth Revan. Now, the one important thing over here in this counter is your Veer's crit chance has to be high, as close to 100% as possible. I believe I've got him at 86%. He gets a little bit extra bonus crit chance, and that gets him close to 100%. The main crux of this counter is you have to crit Malak with Veers when you do the mass assist, so that the trooper who gets called in to assist a second time is going to be Dark Trooper, and you can get additional damage done. That's the overall idea behind this particular counter. So let's see how this goes. Without Talon in there, it's obviously easy for your Veers team to get ahead of the Darth Revan. Now, first you always do a basic on Basti, and then do a mass assist to take Basti out. And if you notice over here, the mass assist, my Veers got crit on Malak, which is why you see he's feared, and then any assist which is being called, it'll be Dark who will be called to assist. It's R7 Malak, so it takes a while to get down, but I am able to get him down in this one shot. You typically tend to lose Veers over here, especially if because it's almost sometimes unavoidable that Darth Revan takes a turn, but at least it's a one shot, even if it's low banners. At least it's a one shot. But typically, high relic Darth Revan teams, you almost always lose Veers, but it's not a big deal. All right, now decided to go with this is a Mon Mothma squad. Mon Mothma is not that scary in 3v3. There's really no reason that Treya can't really defeat it. And I don't have a very high relic Treya team. I think R3 or R5 on most of them. And even if Kyle Katarn is in there, a high relic Kyle Katarn, I think your Treya team should be able to survive at mid relic levels to be able to get enough damage done, because there's not enough of a turn meter train for these guys to loop you and do tons of damage. So just trying to get through this. Mon Mothma is one of those teams which I think I prefer to keep on offense in 3v3, just because it's so easy to take out in 3v3. And on offense, they can actually do a pretty decent job. You can take it against a mid-tier team for full banners, or you can take it against a GL or any tough character that you want to clean up. And these guys do a relatively decent job against those as well. Not all GLs, because you won't have the same amount of turn meter train, but you can do a decent amount of cleanup. All right. Now the dash team, it's not the tricky dash team is obviously the Han Chewie version, which can be taken out by JKR. A very popular dash team, especially if you've got the Omicron, is Vandor and L3. You typically people tend to go with Treya in those cases. This in this particular case, Bad Batch works pretty fine against Dash as well, as long as you outspeed Dash because of all the buffs which are out there. Your Echo and Tech are going to get out ahead. You can most likely land all the stuns in there, and then you can take these guys out no problem at all. So this is a relatively cheap team. I mean, Bad Batch are really not that useful for GL cleanup or anything else like that. So Bad Batch, I don't mind wasting up in the front to be able to see at the back. It's a relatively cheap team to be able to afford you to see the back. So I didn't want to use anything too heavy. Like obviously the kind of teams that you want to save for the back are things like JKR. You want to save Han Chewie. You want to save Thrawn. You want to save bounty hunters, especially Fennec. These are the kind of things which either kill GLs outright or they help you to clean up GLs. Wampa, that's another one that I usually save for the back. So you have to, in 3v3, you have to recognize those teams and characters that you want to save at the back. And expendable teams like Bad Batch and Treya and all that, which you don't really need as much for a GL cleanup, those you should prioritize to spend in the front. All right. Now, against Hux, in the last couple of weeks, and I've been playing 3v3, I love using Padme against Hux. And this particular comp of Padme is extremely useful. Padme, Snips, and Wrecker in there. I could have used GK or Mace, but those guys are Galactic Republic tanks, and they get used in multiple other spots. GK obviously has a place with Jedi Master Kenobi, and then Mace you can put in with either a Qui-Gon Jinn squad or a Basti squad or multiple other squads like that. And Wrecker is really not being used anywhere, especially if you're using the other three Bad Batch clones together. So Wrecker is a great character in here as well. And the reason Padme works so well against the Hux team is because these guys, they have a lot of assist synergy, which means that in the Padme squad there's going to be tons of survivability, and there's these guys do tons of damage as well, which can sometimes surprise you if you take a lesser team and allow these guys to do too much damage. Then they can sometimes surprise you. The other advantage of Huck's lead is these guys don't allow anyone to gain turn meter, and that really doesn't matter with Padme, because her team can't gain turn meter anyway. There's no advantage out there. So Padme is actually the perfect counter to take against Hux. I've been using it with 100% success with pretty decent banners as well over the last couple of weeks. Snips is an odd Jedi. I really don't, I think she fits in perfectly in a Padme squad. I really haven't found a use for her in any other Jedi squads. You can use Kyle Katarn or Old Ben or some of these others in other Jedi squads. But Snips, I think, because of a Galactic Republic synergy, she fits in bets with a Padme squad, which is why in 3v3, I always mod Snips for health, tons of health, just so that she's able to do her best in a Padme squad. All right, last squad over here is a Gas. Now, I still haven't found a decent non-GL, non-Starkiller comp to take against Gas. This is something I really need to work on. A lot of people agree that Bam Han Chewie works pretty well against Gas. It's pretty consistent. But Bam is very critical in my counter to Lord Vader. So I typically don't like to use BAM in the front zone. I like to save BAM at the back, especially if there's no Lord Vader in the front. And and yeah, sometimes Thrawn and Han and Chewie also tends to work, but in this case the gas was really fast, like 306, which is even faster than my Thrawn. So he would get to go first, and probably crit and reduce everyone's turn meter. So that would have been a problem for me. So I decided not to use Thrawn, Han, Chewie over here, and decided to go in with my Starkiller comp, which it's still not a GL. It still allows me to save 2 GLs for the back because I know that there's going to be at least a couple of GLs at the back. But I still, you know, it's still a very strong enough squad, and it does a really decent job against not only GLs but against Skywalker as well. So here you see, I you first do the tenacity down move from um, from Mara, and then after that you just keep doing basics. I don't know why I stunned over here, but basics is all you need to do to get gas down, and then you just it's pretty easy to take care of fives. Apply some days out there so that fives doesn't get turn meter, and then just keep doing basics. Yeah, another good basic, and yeah, these guys are down. One change I've made in the Starkiller squad is in threes. Um, I have modded Palp for health, tons of health and survivability. Especially if you take Starkiller against race squads, it helps to have your EP a little tanky so that he's able to survive some of the whirlwinds that Ray might have. Because here you don't have a tank, unlike a 5v5 situation. So if Ray decides to whirlwind one of your characters, they might die. So a little bit of tankiness is actually pretty good in a Starkiller squad, especially if you want to be consistent in those Ray counters. So here you can see 57 banners, pretty consistent victory against gas. Starkiller is also another one of those squads I like to save at the back, but I've got a couple of other GLs, and I decided to just save those for the back. All right, now let's go and take a look at the back zone. So my opponent has a couple of GLs at the back. He's kept both his newer GLs, JMK as well as Lord Vader at the back. And these are the really good comps of both these squads. There's Maul and RG, and there's Cat and GK in there. And I've got exactly 2 GLs, so I need to be really careful about what I can take out at the back. But given the fact that my opponent has stumbled in my front zone, that does give me a lot of room and a lot of space. I can afford to drop battles and still pull off the win. All I need to do is beat a score of 1151. So I decide to go against the Lord Vader counter first, and I use my Fennec squad over there against Lord Vader. And if Maul is in there, I like to use BAM along with Grief and Fennec. So what ends up happening is Maul is going to end up going and do a ton of damage. And when that happens, BAM is going to interrupt. And once someone gets below the threshold, and then give damage immunity to himself and Fennec, and then prevent Maul from doing any further damage. So here, first thing you do is cleanse, and you get your contract. And then you can see over here, at this point, Maul has gone and reduced Bam below the threshold, so he gets a turn, and he's able to do his damage immunity ability on himself as well as Fennec. And since Grief is under stealth, it's he can never be targeted. So this is actually pretty great situation to be in. So then he'll do the rest of his counters, and all of them will get whiffed because all of my characters are at damage immunity or stealth. Now at this point, I made a mistake. I should have gone after Maul when because Fennec had got a contract and she could ignore taunt. So it's always important to whenever you get a contract, you can ignore taunt, go after Maul, finish him off, and then focus down on Royal Guard. But in this case, I'm stuck behind taunt for now, so I'm going after Royal Guard for now, and it's an R7 Royal Guard, so it's going to take a while. But now, if I had gotten rid of Maul, then that would have been great because yeah, this is what I do now. Since I can ignore taunt, I go directly after Maul, and I try to get get Maul down. I think in the next turn I'll probably get that done. Luckily, I've got damage immunity again, which helps with more survivability. I believe I heal up over here a little bit, and again, target Maul, take him out, and there you go. And now it's just a question of taking care of Royal Guard, and and then it should be fine. In this counter, you usually tend to lose Bam because you know there's really nothing much you can do. Vader likes to target him. But the most important people over here after the initial damage immunity is going to be Fennec obviously and Grief. Grief obviously to cleanse and to give the retribution, because every time that Vader attacks uh, Fennec with the retribution, she counters back and is able to do a decent job to take him down. So that's basically how this counter works. Whenever Maul is in there, I always take in Bam. If there's no Maul in there, if there's like a double comp situation or a one tank and a side character like Gideon or Tarkin, then what I like to do is I like to take in Grief, Fennec, and either Bosk or Mando. Mando actually does pretty well, the guy with the execute, because especially if there's two tanks in there, you get Mando in there, you get a contract, you snipe out RG, and then you focus down on the other tank, take him out, and then it's easier to go after Lord Vader. If you don't get Mando in there to snipe, then you have to basically have Fennec go through two tanks, and your boss has to be really, really tanky to be able to survive Vader. So that's basically my preference when it comes to non-Maul teams. All right, now uh, now that we've got two GLs and we've got one other GL to take out, but I think I want to do a few other battles first, and before I attack the GL. So against these new teams, I'm loving to take this Iden team, but Iden is so powerful, especially on offense. On defense, she can still be taken out pretty easily by Wampa and a few other squads like that. But Iden is so powerful on offense, you can basically use her to get really good banners against some of these tricky teams, especially assist-based teams like this one, Mon Mothma, all of those. Iden is pretty great against them. B1 over here keeps assisting a lot, so you take Iden over here. Very first turn you stun Django, and even the second turn I always stun Django. Even though he's got damage immunity, I don't want him taking turns and all that. The other characters are no big deal at all. I mean, B1 essentially kills himself, so not a big deal, and the others won't be much of a problem as well. So here I just wait for Django to come out of damage immunity. So a couple of stuns, then he comes out of damage immunity. Then I just go ahead and take care of him. There we go. Recover a little protection, and I think I end with. No, I think I almost end with full banners over here. This is good against any General Grievous squad as well, and I believe even CLS. This might do a decent job against that. Anyway, so this one was taken out for 55. And let's see. What else do I decide to do next? Next, I decide to go against the crew team. Now, against crew, I usually like to go with Bam, IG, Quill, but Bam obviously I use with the Lord Vader counter. So this is another good squad to take against any first order squads, basically. You have locked healing immunity, tons of turn meter generation, days, expose, lots of good stuff. So it's a pretty straightforward battle. I usually tend to save this JTR squad on offense for CLS. I have my JTR modded for tons of potency and my droids modded for tons of crit chance, just for that CLS 3PO 2PO counter. So that has been pretty successful. All the times that I've seen CLS, I've taken it out for pretty good banners with this particular squad, just with the way that my Rey and droids are modded. And conversely, my CLS squad, I've been placing it on defense all this while. I've modded my CLS squad for tons of tenacity, especially on Chupio, because he's the one who's going to be waived by JTR first. And at the same time, I've also given a lot of tenacity to CLS and a crit avoidance arrow. In fact, I've got him really fast, at about 300, 310 speed or something like that with a crit avoid arrow. So I think crit avoid and tenacity is extremely important on the CLS squad if you're putting it on defense. It's already gotten me a like 3 holes, I think, in the first week, the CLS squad. All right. So I take care of Kylo Ren. Now it's just a question of getting rid of Kylo Ren and Mast. Another good advantage of this particular counter is you can delay on Kylo Ren if you want to regain your banners with for whatever reason. If you're playing an efficiency match, for example, if you want to regain your banners with Illuminated Destiny, then this is a very good squad to delay on. You just have to prevent doing Rey's middle ability, which is a locked healing immunity, and you can keep attacking Kylo. He's going to keep regenerating health and protection. And when the time is right, when you've got everyone fully healed up, then you can get in there and take him out. It takes less than 30 seconds to take him out, so you can delay it all the way till the end. For this battle, obviously the banners did not matter, so I just went ahead and finished it off. Yep, there you go. All right. Now, what's the next battle? I think I decide to go against the JMK now. Now, my opponent got stalled against my JMK Cat and GK, and I had 2 GLs on offense. I had my Supreme Leader Kylo to take against the JMK, and I have my Lord Vader to take against the JMK. Now, both these are well, the best teams to take against JMK are going to be your JMK Mirror, or Rey does pretty well as well, especially with if you're able to mark Cat and take her out with a few whirlwinds. JML also is decent enough. Uh, the Supreme Leader Kylo, it used to work, then in the middle it stopped working, but I haven't used it in 3 months. So let's see how this one does. A lot of people prefer using Watt in there to give to give that protection tech to Kylo Ren, but I decided to go with the zombie Daka option. Just because of the initial thing from Cat. Maybe if I should have used my GBA actually over here. GBA and Watt is actually if you're using Kylo Ren, that is actually a much better option. I think Armor also tends to do okay if you manage to get to 3 stacks, but that's always a risky game, especially with General Kenobi in there. He gets into ultimate really fast in 3s, and you end up, you see him taking tons and tons of turns. And especially in 3s, Kylo is just not able to ramp up to his ultimate fast enough. So you need survivability over here, which is why I think a character like Watt or Armorer or even both, I think is necessary if you're taking Kylo Ren versus General Kenobi. The problem with Daka in there is she doesn't do anything to help SLKR recover protection or health, and she doesn't do anything to take the heat off him as well, because after a couple of times, once she dies, the situation is hopeless, because then your SLKR is going to be out in the open. So there you see, she's dead twice, and I still haven't made any progress towards my ultimate, and I haven't, I haven't even gotten General Kenobi down any further. So this is a big problem. Um, C actually would have been a decent option. C has got more of a success rate against General Kenobi than um, than SLKR. And you can see over here, I'm only at 60% ultimate, but I have no option but to go for ultimate right now, because otherwise these guys are going to go and they're going to finish me off, no problem at all. So you can see I've gone into ultimate, but it's only now that I've triggered that savior from Kenobi, and without that protection regeneration, there's just no way that I'll be able to survive over here. So this battle was a big mistake. It was a lot of misplays, but I should have probably taken the right team in, like a protection generating support character. But it is what it is. One fail. I still have another GL that I can take against it, and I decide to use Lord Vader, Maul, as well as Royal Guard in there. And the trick to this is this can work, but you have to be really, really careful. You have to keep reducing Cat's cooldowns Maul and never allow her to take that force leap. So this is what I do over here. This is obviously turn meter loaded, but even if it's not turn meter loaded, what you need to do is whenever you've got 5 stacks on Maul, reduce the cooldown on or increase the cooldown on Cat, and then focus on Kenobi, and then do the middle ability so that you get back to 5 stacks ASAP. And then during the next turn of Maul, increase the cooldown again attack Kenobi, and then do the middle ability to get back to 5 stacks. So you have to keep the pressure on Cat. You have to keep increasing the cooldowns on Cat, and you have to be really mindful about when Kenobi does his cooldown reduction ability like this. For example, he's done it again. So again, go and increase the cooldowns. Again, go after Kenobi. Now, what I should have done at this point, and this was a mistake, since I've already reduced Cat's cooldown, she's not going to go and force leap on my Royal Guard anymore. So he's still going to be around for a while. At this point of time, what I should have done is I should have gone after General Kenobi, and because I still have 3 stacks left, I should probably try to go after him and try to at least trigger the savior at this point of time, so that so that he's at least down. Because the main key to succeeding with Lord Vader against Jedi Master Kenobi is you have to get General Kenobi down as soon as you can. He is a really tough tank to get through. If Mace was in there, if any other tank was in there, it would be no problem at all. General Kenobi has got a very sticky, very persistent taunt, which really doesn't go, and he does tons of cleansing, tons of retribution. Is really problematic. So here that was a problem that I did over here. I managed to get to my ultimate, but I should have probably taken down Kenobi using 5 stacks of Maul. And at the same time, I should have probably waited to use my ultimate until after Jedi Master Kenobi had used his ultimate, because then I would have gotten a chance to daze everyone, and then the debuffs would not have been cleansed by Jedi Master Kenobi. So a couple of mistakes over there. Not going after General Kenobi right away, and using my ultimate before Jedi Master Kenobi used his ultimate. Those were a couple of mistakes that I think I made in this Lord Vader counter. But this is actually the very first time I'm using this particular counter, so I learned a ton. Next time I probably will avoid making those same mistakes. You'll see over here, this obviously, as you can tell from my tone, this was a loss because I wasn't able to get Kenobi down. And if you're not able to get Kenobi down before your Maul gets down, then it is a lost cause, because Jedi Master Kenobi is going to keep doing his damage immunity ability on General Kenobi, and he's going to keep keeping him alive. So it's going to be extremely difficult over here. So you can see over here, he keeps healing him up, and even though I've reached my ultimate once, I'm nowhere near to killing these guys. I'm just not doing enough damage. And now with no Maul in there to increase Cat's cooldown, she's going to force sleep and get rid of my Royal Guard over there. I think now the Savior ability was triggered, but it's still too little too late, because this guy's going to reach his 3rd ultimate or so, I think. And there you go. He's kept damage immunity on General Kenobi, so I can't really do anything much. I do manage to reach my 2nd ultimate, but there's just not enough. I mean, I can't get around taunt, so there's that damage immunity is really hurting me right now. Yeah, it's extremely crucial to get rid of Kenobi as soon as you can in this Lord Vader counter. So you can see over here, struggling, and this is why this is the best version of this comp, the General Kenobi version. I know a lot of people like to save General Kenobi either on offense or to put him against any other tough team on defense, but especially if you're keeping Jedi Master Kenobi on defense, I highly recommend putting General Kenobi in there. I know it can be taken out very cheaply by a mirror, but for all non-mirror options, General Kenobi can prove so problematic. So neither me nor my opponent were able to clear this particular GL, Jedi Master Kenobi, General Kenobi, and Cat. And the only reason I won was because I kept the JMK team in the front zone, and my opponent kept it in the back zone, and they were not able to clear me. That is the only reason. Otherwise, both of us had equal amounts of failure versus this particular General Kenobi comp. So I wasted 2 GLs on this General Kenobi, and I wasn't able to take out a single character. If at least I took out one or two characters, I could have then cleaned up with a Wampa or something like that, but wasn't even able to do that. Now I have my Wampa with me, but I think I'm going to use my Jedi Knight Revan. I think I've decided I'm going to clear the rest of this board and and then call it a day because I'm not going to be able to get through the Jedi Master Kenobi. So like my opponent doesn't have Starkiller, so he decided to use EP with Vader and Talon in there. And against these squads, JKR is great because he starts with Tenacity up. None of the debuffs are going to land, and tons of turn meter generation, tons of damage, tons of protection recovery as well. Typically, I like to go after Palpatine, but in this case, Vader can get a little irritating, so I took him out. Palpatine because every time your Jedi take turn, um, he um he forces them to lose some amount of health, so you end up losing banners. But banners are really not important here, so that's fine. All right, so this squad is taken out. Let's see what else we have. We have, I think I'm going to go against the Geos next. Not very highly relic up Geos, but let's see what I take against them. I think I decided to take my Empire or Vader. Oh no, I decided to go Mon Mothma versus the Dooku squad. Now this Dooku squad is interesting because it's got Grievous in there, and every time obviously Dooku is going to be hitting below full health, so that means healing immunity and daze, which is why Night Sister can get a little tricky over here. Typically against Grievous squads in 3v3, you tend to take Night Sister, but if you've got healing immunity applied, then you don't want to risk Night Sisters over there. The other thing that a lot of people like to take against Grievous squads is Wampa. But again, whenever this guy Dooku is in stealth and he counters back, he hits below protection, and that applies healing immunity on Wampa and tenacity down, which means that Dooku can go and stun, and even Magna Guard can probably stun. Grievous can apply target lock and all of that good stuff. So whenever you see Dooku lead, I would be a little cautious to take Wampa in there, just because there's a very high chance that you get tenacity down applied, and then if you've got characters who can stun or ability block or something else like that, then it can throw a wrench in Wampa's style. But that's why I decided to go with a squad which cleanses a lot, and Mon Mothma is a great squad for that. There's obviously tons of debuffs being applied over here, and I don't have enough damage on this team. But to take down IG 100 fast. But these guys, you've got plenty of time, and these guys do a decent enough job. Um, this presence of Scout in there actually helps to you do a little bit of a turn meter loop train, so that helps a bit. I would have ideally liked to use Kara and Kyle Katarn, but I think my Kyle Katarn was either on defense or being used for some other team on offense. I think it was on defense, if I'm not mistaken, with Jedi Master Luke. But yeah, but this squad is once IG is down, there's no other tank in there, and then it's an easy enough job to take this out. There's no other droid to taunt as well to get the mark, so you can directly go after Grievous, take him out. So a couple of forms of turn meter manipulation. There's Scout's basic, and then there's Cara Dune's special as well, which removes turn meter from the enemy team. And there you go. Grievous is almost out. And reduce the turn meter over there. All those debuffs that Dooku applies really doesn't matter because Mon Mothma is able to cleanse them pretty easily. And now that I've got a second promotion of the Worthless guy, I'm able to get days applied, which is pretty useful. And now it's just a question of getting through Dooku, and then it's a pretty straightforward contour. So yeah, this is the reason I love to take Mon Mothma on offense. It's all these tricky, troublesome squads which apply a lot of debuffs. You can take the right Mon Mothma squad and get decent banners against them. All right, I think now I decided to use my Wampa against Shakti. Now, as long as there's no Rex in there, I think any Shakti clone squad can be taken out pretty easily with Wampa. But in this particular case, I made a mistake. I did not realize that I thought it was Arc and Echo. I didn't realize that it was um, the Bad Batch Echo in there who applies unresistible tenacity or days rather. So I realized that only after I got into the battle. So that could be problematic. So what I had to do was I needed to take care of Echo fast. Otherwise, that days could get problematic for me. So that's why I started attacking him as soon as I can because my Wampa is not doing any counters at all, and it's only a matter of time before he gets taken out by additional damage. So you can see they've already chewed through the bonus protection, but I was able to take down Echo right in time. And now he's already in yellow health, but I managed to get my bonus protection back just in time. So that's one thing that I'm going to be a little more careful about. If I see Shakti clones in there, I'm not just going to blindly take the Wampa in there. Got to see if the wrong Echo is in there. All right, so yeah, Wampa was able to take care of this, no problem at all. Just needed to make sure that Echo did the right thing. All right, now just a couple of teams to take out, and then two or three teams to take out, and then we should be good. I decided to open up ships. So against the Geo squad, I had tons on offense, I think. So against the Geo squad, I think I just decided to use my Sith Empire. Um, yeah, because my Malak was with my Sith Eternal on defense. I didn't want to keep a weaker Darth Revan squad on defense, so I decided to go with them on offense. I typically almost never use them on offense in 3v3, so this was a sort of a treat. And Marauder is great in there just because these guys assist so much. He keeps getting a lot of turn meter, and he does so much damage under Darth Revan. Look at that 200k hit he just did, and yeah, pretty easy. So yep. So if I see that my opponent has an easy way to take out Darth Revan squads, I will probably keep Malik on defense and then use my Darth Revan on offense against some squad like this. Let's see what my opponent has placed on defense for ships. So Executor, an R9 Executor, and what he's done is he's kept very cleverly, he's kept the triple attacker version of this because if I decide to take my own Executor on offense like I've done right now, because he's an R9 and mine is R8, the triple attacker version, it's trickier for a mirror to take out, especially if the enemy is faster than you, which is because they're going to start with an AoE, and the triple attacker version is going to go and get one of your ships down, or at least get the Razor Crest into exhaust the Savior, and then it's very easy for them to control the battle and get to the ultimate fast. So the mirror was probably going to fail. So there is a slight chance of success with rebels against a triple attacker fleet. So that's what we might try. But first, I believe I go and take out the other two character zones. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got a Finn squad over here that I decide to overkill with my CLS Han and Chewie. I'd saved my CLS on offense because for some reason, I thought that Liam had a Starkiller, and I wanted it to use that to counter Starkiller. But it's only after I saw the board that I realized that there's not going to be a Starkiller here. All right. So this was a 56, and then a final squad to take out. And here also it's overkill. I've got tons of squads left. I've got Vader, Thrawn. I've got Jedi. I've got Basti as well, but I decided to use my Jedi Knight Luke just because it's I love using Luke on offense. That's another change I've made. In the last few 3v3 seasons, I would always place Luke at the back with a really fast Shakti and Hoda or Old Ben or someone like that in there. But this season, I've decided to save Jedi Knight Luke on offense. Just because I think he's great for taking out, like he's actually one of the few off-meta counters to SLKR as well. You use JKR, Luke, and Armorer, and you can potentially take out most most SLKR comps. He's also, just really great to pair with the Jedi Master Luke to take out to counter a GL. There's really tons of uses for him on offense. So I think, yeah, I think that's one big change that I've made from last 3v3 season to now is just using or just saving Jedi Knight Luke on offense. And I think that's been working out pretty well for me. So here you can see no problem taking out the Marauder on big heal and then one mass assist, and we end with maximum banners. So overkill, but that's fine. So my opponent Liam was able to prevent the full clear, which is great. Congratulations. But now we still have to clear ships because these are a few of tricky squads, and I don't have much on offense. I just have my executor, but I decided to go with the rebel against the executor fleet, the all attacker executor fleet. It can get tricky, but I think we might be able to get a few characters down. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. So the key is to get down, to go after the IG 2000 first, and hope to get a few lucky assists to get that one down. So apply target lock over there, and with the basic should be able to take him out. Excellent. And now it's a question of surviving. Biggs usually almost gets taken out early. Should have probably done my tilt ability by wiggle ability a little earlier, so that my Han's Millennium Falcon wasn't targeted. But here you can see the ideal situation in this case would have been to take out a Xanadu Blood before Houndstooth gets a chance to reinforce. But obviously that didn't happen. And now I can't even get in Cassian, because if I do, I'll still be stuck behind the taunt and I won't be able to do anything. So I decided to get in another tank to try to get the battle, delay the battle a little bit. But unfortunately he's healed, so nothing much I can do about that. Xanadu Blood has gone all the way to full again. Get some defense penetration. I don't have many ships over here, so things are not looking that hopeful over here. Yeah, and they've already got their contract, so I'm in a tough situation, and I probably won't be able to take any other ship down. I just took down one ship, IG 2000, so this rebel counter was a failure. It all depends on the RNG of the assists, and how relict up the enemy characters are as well. All right, now I still have my executor, so I can take that on offense. I couldn't use my executor as a mirror. I could have. I think a cheaper way to do this would have been to send in a burner, like mace or something like that, burn the cooldowns, and then gone in with my executor. That way, I would have still had my rebel fleet for use against one of the other ships. But that's fine. So as long as the cooldowns are burnt off, it's a relatively easy job to do a mirror. As you can see over here, I'm trying to get as many targets locked as I can. And in this case, what I also do is I get an Ebenhawk, I believe, as my first reinforcement. Yeah, in mirrors, I always prefer to get the Ebenhawk in first, just to delay the enemy's ultimate and to accelerate mine. So trying to get after the Razor Crest to take him out before he does too much damage. And there we go. He's taken out. And now I should have probably applied chaff over there, because my characters are without chaff, and Houndstooth can effectively get get target locked at this stage. So I need to go back and apply chaff as soon as I can with Even Hawk. All right, let's go after Boba's ship because he can do that big ability. But yeah, no need to worry over here because we've already reached our ultimate and now it's just end game. So yeah, I could have probably, if I had to two-shot, I could have probably just taken Mace and then Radis. That's proven to be a pretty consistent two-shot for me against the against any Bosk fleet. So against any bounty hunter fleet. So I should have probably done that. Although I've never really tried that against a triple attacker fleet, so I don't know how that would work out. But at least against the Houndstooth version, Radis and Mace do a pretty decent job of taking it out. But that's fine. I still have a couple of other ships left to take out the others. So against the Chimera, or not the Chimera, the Executrix, the Tarkin fleet. This one is a maxed Executrix fleet, and it's got the double tank starting lineup, which is really tricky for Finalizer because the best ship I have left remaining is Finalizer. That's the only shot against an Empire fleet, and this is the high damage, high turn meter version of the Empire fleet. They're going to go first. They're going to get their reinforcement, all of that stuff first. So I need to there's a few specific things that you need to do for your first order counter to work against an Empire fleet. So first thing to remember, if there is no if there's um, no double tank version, if there is like what is that, the bomber, the the Marauder's bomber, I forget the name. If that is not there, because that's the one which applies days, if that is not there, then what I would do over here is I would go after Vader, apply Hunted on Vader, and then try to take down Vader as soon as you can, and then go after TIE Bomber. But in this case, since the Marauder ship is there, what you need to do is you need to apply Hunted on Vader, then immediately target the TIE Bomber and take him out, the Marauder ship. So apply stun, and then this is the assist version, so you have to assist with your big ship. And then there's no days on my cruise ship yet, so I give the turn meter back to him, big hit, and then I take him out. So even though I've got days right now, that's perfectly fine. At least I was able to get the Marauder ship out before any major damage was done. Now, I can't pass turn meter back to cruise ship, so I just apply an ability block over there. And now I need to just get in either someone who taunts, or I need to get in a cleanser. So in this case, I decided to get in my Gauntlet Starfighter just because I don't like all the debuffs on my squad over there. And then now I start going after the bomber because I need to take out the bomber before I can take out Vader. Luckily, the major damage dealer in this squad is Vader. The others shouldn't be much of a problem. But now that there's no one in the enemy's team to apply days, we can keep generating turn meter for the first order ships, and we can keep going after Bomber to take him out. And there we go. Bomber is taken out. Now we can just call an assist on Darth Vader because he's the most dangerous ship. Take him out, and then the other squads, other ships are no problem at all. Again, an assist on Interceptor, and by now the battle is under control, and a big hit to take out Shuttle, and we are good for 67 banners. So the battle for Finalizer versus Empire plays out slightly differently depending on who is there in the starting lineup. But the most problematic comp is this particular comp, which is with the Marauder ship in there. All right, then I just decided to go ahead and do a mirror on Radis. I typically hate mirrors, but in this case, Radis mirror, it's perfectly fine because and a player is going to play it much better than the AI. Specifically for the Radis mirror, what I've actually done is I've given my Poe one 6E mod, because typically people don't tend to put 6E mods on Poe, and a lot of people like to put Radis on defense. So if you have one 6E mod on your own Poe, you will be slightly faster than the enemy's Poe, and you get to go first and apply some damage down and so on and so forth. Or if you want to use some of your abilities first. So in this case, you see my Poe went first. I decided to go heavily after Rose, and and now and now I can start using my specials with foresight out there. Now more and more people are getting bomber starred up, and it's getting really tanky to take out these days. The bomber, I'm really liking it because I've almost got my own bomber at 7 stars, but once I get that 7 stars, then my Radis counter to executor will be even more consistent. The burnout method, the burner method, because your tank is going to stay all the way till the end in those situations. All right, took care of the enemy tank. I still have my own tank remaining behind, which is good. And I got in my own my own resistance fleet. So the problem with the AI is it got in the Outrider and not a resistance fleet. So it's going to take a while its for its ultimate to come. And I managed to get my own rebel fleet in there. A good lucky days applied on Ray's Millennium Falcon, which means that it won't be able to counter, which is important. And now I lost my tank, but I did manage to reach my ultimate fast enough. And with this, we should be able to take care of the leftover ships soon enough. There we go. And we end with 70 banners on this one. So managed to clear ships, managed to clear everything else except for that one JMK at the back. Yeah, really tricky squad, and there's a specific turn order in which you have to go to be able to take that out. Anyway, so that's the battle with Liam. Really enjoyed this. Thanks a ton, Liam, for setting a tricky defense. Hope we get matched up soon. But until next time, we will I'll see you all next week when we come back with a few more battles, few more good battles. So final outcome for this week is I went 3-0. The last battle, my opponent went extremely heavy on defense, like put I think 5 GLs and Starkiller or something like that. I was able to clear 2 zones, but my opponent wasn't able to clear even a single zone of mine, so I ended up winning that one. All right, so now I'm really looking forward to next week. It's going to be pretty interesting. I've got lots of interesting characters that I've updated. I've applied the Omicron on first order type pilot. I've given a few relics and remodded a few of the other characters as well. I've got my Lando, my young Lando, up to relic 5 as well, to be used under Dash and Kira. So that's going to be interesting. So yep, a few things that we'll get to see next week. Hopefully I'll get time to make a video next week, but I'll try to make it at least one video a week. I think that's going to be my goal. All right, that's it for now. Take care and talk to you later. Thanks, guys.